While this message was only slightly off in description, it is linked to the Interstellar videos I have done on my channel lately. That I was right about the Holy Spirit having led these species to our world before. Their technology was used by the Creator to design our world by the plans of His design, and though there are many different species in the universe, what is unique about us and justifies our claim to being designed by the nonlinear particle anomaly that they all have detailed recorded encounters with, is that our world, our galaxy, our solar system and our carbon-based design itself is an identical mirrored outline of the universe itself, and that basically what can be assumed is that some living, intangible state of energy that is like a duplicated outline of all that exists, that possesses not only sentient thought but celestial awareness and is able to avoid being centralized to a single location, has duplicated somehow the process that maintains its existence and applied that process into making not others like itself but specifically a world and an entire species that is all designed in every way like itself. And this theory can be summarized into a single phrase: as above so too shall it be below. And though they may detect trace signature patterns of it, we were made by it and it used their technology, manipulated the events that brought them here, using what can best be described in our words as miracles of God. Some of these visitors that have come were the last of their kind. How they survived the destruction and the rest of their species' extinction they aren't even clear about, but nevertheless here they find themselves, against all odds, here on our world, playing their part in the Creator's personal hobby that is the design of our world and our evolution. Another side note is the Iridians mentioned here, would be the species who are the designers of the Dyson sphere technology I spoke of that come from Orion's Horsehead Nebula. The reptoid species they speak of from the Draconian region are the Osirians, and the Solarians are the evolved species that were the Palladians. To those scout systems and alien species who run across this video in your search for information of interest, a message for you just to make you aware of something you may not be aware of. When stepping onto our world, you should understand that the anomaly that is the being beyond any of our understanding, that created all that is a part of all that is designed on this world personally as its own project, and everything upon this world is like a mirrored design of itself. Not only that, but the planet itself is a sentient living presence just as the one who designed it, a type of child if you will of the Creator. So you may want to be careful and cautious of any mistakes you may unknowingly make here. If anything or any harm were to come to its child, you may find the very universe itself seeking revenge, and here on our world it is not unheard of for the Creator to reanimate the physical bodies of its enemies to extract revenge again and again until he feels like it is enough. There are times also when someone who upset him or became a threat to others here just suddenly and without warning dropped dead for no reason and without cause. He's even been known to cause entire sections of the ground and oceans to open and swallow enemies by the thousands at once. So do be careful and do not disturb us with ideals of war and glory. We'll help if you need it, but do not play with us, for we have a very irritable parent who is known for his short temper, sometimes with arrogant people. The missing files, the Iridians and the Anunnaki, who are they, and where do they originate? We mentioned in the final countdown that these anomalous objects observed orbiting the Sun were in fact plasma carriers, and possibly of Iridian origin. However, there seems to be an additional object, accompanied object, which may be of a different design. See anomalous solar objects. The final countdown glossed on the thesis that our planet was made up of a number of races that inhabited Earth many millions of years ago, of which the Pleiadian group was the main representative. Prior to, and long after the Pleiadians, other races were involved in the genetic integration of the inhabitants of Earth, and the real makeup of our genetic ancestry may never be completely known. See life's true beginnings as a starting point then. Let us take a brief view of the origins and social structure of the Iridians to see where and what role they are playing out in this scenario. Remember, there is a highly complex historical background as to the present scenario that is unfolding, and therefore in some circumstances complete details may not be available. However, For the benefit of those who wish to comprehend what is transpiring and to take on board an understanding in preparation, we submit the following below. The Iridians' initial contact seems to portray them as reptoid Klingons for want of a better description, but without the physical fighting qualities of that class. They appear to follow the reptoid pattern of having little logical brain and are controlled by spirit. Viking.org, it is apparent that this is the first time they have encountered man in its present form, and thus do not comprehend the human race. What's new, I hear you ask? There is one common denominator between them and us, and that is the interest in an old enemy. The Anunnaki. They seem to be still looking for them. Perhaps this is their motive in orbiting our sun, to await the Anunnaki. If indeed this is the case, then we could witness to and even become drawn into a final conflict. Where do the Iridians originate? The Iridians themselves are a completely telepathic race and seem to originate from the constellation of Eridanus. It is represented as a very long, winding river that starts at the left foot of Orion in the north, sweeps south of Taurus, west to the edge of Cetus, then doubles back east to Kellam, and eventually ends far to the south. At the border with Hydrus. It's difficult now to identify which river the constellation represents. Some writers claimed it was the Tigris or Euphrates, others the Nile. The constellation is situated approximately 10.7 to 12 plus light years to the near groups, which include Eridanus Delta and Epsilon. Epsilon is very similar to our Earth and their sun is in the same class. The Delta planet is said to be a carboniferous, agricultural planet that possessed diamonds as ubiquitous as is quartz. To them they are as decorative as our rocks on planet Earth. It is inhabited by reptoids that look fairly human. Their sun, however, is a variable star, so they also employ complete weather control, which enables them to live in windowless stone houses. Or possibly reinforced concrete as we know it. The Iridians are also referred to as Susans, or Tau-Susans, a sort of human race of Mediterranean or South American and of tan-skinned appearance. These are said to be in alliance with the Pleiadians, who have formed a kind of Susan alliance with others in a desire to establish a common defense against their reptilian nemesis. It is thought that the Iridians are very hypochondriac about making contact, as the telepathic noise we create would upset them greatly. In addition, our gravity is slightly too much for their comfort, and there is a risk of bacterial or virus contamination. By our standards, they may perhaps appear slightly reptilian, and therefore any contact would have to be controlled contact. If they do wish to make contact, it will be at a distance without a physical landing. Due to their complete telepathic abilities, they may not appreciate our normal methods of communication, including radio and television, etc. It is possible that these Iridian plasma carriers then are part of a fleet, which are involved in a galactic dispute beyond Jupiter. In summing up, therefore, it is conceivable that an alliance may be possible with this group, as they appear friendlier than the Anunnaki. There are in fact a number of diverse reptilian races distributed throughout a number of equally diverse galaxies and universes. Some are good and some bad. The Draconians, Okar the Dracs, originate from the constellation of Draconis and almost entered our solar system, from the companion to Hale-Bopp comet in 1997. It is believed, however, they were prevented from so doing by the Galactic Federation. Otherwise it would have been a case of Jurassic Park, where Earth would have provided the best restaurant in the galaxy. While from Sirius we have the Red Group, the Sirians. It is this group that is involved in the war beyond Jupiter. The Sirians once inhabited and ruled Earth prior to 15,000 BCE, before the Common Era, or BC, in Atlantis. Apparently, Sirius seems to be the epicenter of the Ashtar or Astarte collective, where humanoids of various types, Sasquatch, reptiloids, greys, and reptilian hybrid species seem to have collated together in the past. The Sirians have waged war previously with the Orion Empire or the Unholy Six reptilian star systems in the Orion Open Cluster. The ancient dispute involves just who will serve as the landlords of a sector of space containing 21 star systems, including the most strategic star system, SQL, and particularly planet Earth, Terra or Shan, which is a virtual cosmic oasis of water, mineral, plant, animal and genetic resources in incredible variety compared with most other worlds. This dispute between the Sirians and Orion reptiloids dates back to the ancient invasion of Orion by the Draconian Empire, as a result of which many Nordic-type humanoids escaped to Procyon, Sol, Sirius and elsewhere. This war in Sirius B is gravitating towards the Soi system, in that the opposing agendas for this system is one of the major issues of dispute between the two, or three, warring factions sides, if Adamic Draconian. However, as previously mentioned, the Anunnaki are the race to be apprehensive of, to say the least. Who are they? We on Earth are said to be genetically and symbolically part of an off-planet civilization known as the Anunnaki. Thought to originate in the constellation of Lyra, these were the first creator gods who knew how to create matter, such as planets, stars, life forms for themselves, and eventually others. The Lyrans' physical lifetimes lasted for approximately 1,000 years. In time, however, as their lifespan decreased, they sought out a substance that would enable them to live longer. They discovered that gold not only increased their longevity, but also provided them with a superconductivity, which gave them the ability to be highly telepathic and experience their multidimensionality. See Starfire. Eventually, they spread out into the cosmos and created new civilizations. A few went to Vega, others the Pleiades, and others Sirius. However, their need for gold was paramount. The Anunnaki were said to be tall, and have been called the Nordics or blondes, emanating a golden glow aura. Their symbol is the winged disk, which not only represents their starship Nibiru, but also symbolic of the ability of the spirit to fly free while remembering its wise, divine source. These Anunnaki were later called the Elohim, gods, and Nephilim, those who descended. Upon completion of a number of genetic experiments, in which they created other races, they eventually produced the hybrid Homo sapiens, us. The souls of those who became human came to Earth by their own free will to experience physicality. Several other extraterrestrial civilizations contributed their own input into human DNA and created many races of humans, some of which have now left Earth. Thus the Anunnaki could be said to be pattern makers, the creators of archetypes and of the template for human life on Earth. One of the Anunnaki leaders was Eni, also known as Jehovah. Enki and Eni were half-brothers through the same father, Anu, who was the king of this Anunnaki group. Enlil did not want human to be equal to them, while Enki was in favor of human freedom and equality. In order to ensure that humans would be able to benefit from their ancestry, Enki, the serpent of wisdom and healing, suggested those who came to be called Adam and Eve to eat from the tree of knowledge. This subterfuge enraged Enlil, who, from that point onward, continued to punish humanity whenever they were close to coming to an answer of life itself, thus seeking to reclaim their Isle heritage. See Genesis connection. Civilizations and religions were created by Enki and Enlil, and later their offspring. Enki and his lineage developed Egypt. But, these civilizations rarely had long periods of peace. It is thought that Enlil irradiated Sodom and Gomorrah off the face of the earth, and Atlantis sank due to the Anunnaki's experiments with sound technology. The last great flood, approximately 13,000 years ago, became a legend when Enki went against the other Anunnaki and saved humans, the nose of Earth, when Eni wanted to destroy them. Mars also had a civilization that was developed by the Anunnaki. Eventually, and possibly after the Exodus, other Anunnaki left the Earth, and their secrets of transforming gold into the powerful substance that allowed their longevity also vanished. In time, humans who remembered died or disappeared. The knowledge was lost, and yet, people kept trying to capture that special essence of gold in the form of statues, mistakenly believing it was their key to immortality. Whether today the Anunnaki would be able to adapt to our planet's environment is debatable. However, the main advantage of the Anunnaki, like the Iridians, their telepathic ability, may also be their downfall, their Achilles heel if you will. In a telepathic society there can be little crime, but also little free will. In general, we, as humans at least, do have this choice of free will, corruption or enlightenment. You choose. Just a quick footnote, this message was extracted from a web page-based forum that I was led to. Everything in here almost completely aligns with the information I've posted on the videos pertaining to the interstellar species and inevitably diminishes the chance of this deep of an informative story to be that of fiction and something I just made up. Some of the names are different but the basically outline is undeniably the same. So it is the Anunnaki who were the forerunners from the Proxima A and B star system, and the Pleiadian High Council is now called the Solarians, but the Federation and Asgard, or the Central Unified Galactic Systems, are still in power out there and are at war, once again, with the reptoid species of Draconia, or more precisely the Osirians from the Orion Nebula, and that war is passing right by outside of our system, almost as if they are trying to avoid our system. If so, it most likely is because of the Dyson sphere system that our solar system is a part of. As I had stated, this region of space on common travel maps is considered off-limits due to our role as a part of the Iridian energy generator that fuels the joint Galactic Federation of Unified Systems power grid that maintains that junction. What we call the Bifrost Rainbow Bridge. Most likely, if we take and apply the map of the Asgardian 9 realms to the Laniakea supercluster as an overlay, it will detail the locations within the supercluster that contain each of these alien species.